In a luxury restaurant in New York, a daring challenge took place, one that I truly tore apart. Billions of people believe they control everything. The loopholes in the empire of the rich, it also awakened a power he never expected. A fleeting glance. This bold bet was enough to ignite an ambition. The clash between sacrifice and mystery, so you can't predict the outcome. The name Lucas Stone echoes through signs, headlines, and the dreams of those chasing power. He's 45 years old, the mastermind behind the global luxury empire, Les Chouets, able to turn desires into gold. The watch he wears is worth 6 figures. The tailor-made suit crafted meticulously to exude a majestic aura, and the perfume carries an exclusive, alluring scent. His life is like a fortress. A mansion next to Central Park with French windows reflecting his endless ambition. A private jet, the Ben Stream G650, always ready, with a schedule as precise as military orders. No room for error, no place for weakness. Lucas doesn't just win, he rewrites the rules of winning, bending the world to his will. His motto is ruthless time is money. Anyone or anything that doesn't contribute to the empire's growth is nothing more than dust in his afterlife. That night, he's at the Michelin-starred La Perla restaurant on the Upper East Side of New York, entertaining investors from Madrid. This is an important deal. The merger will bring luxury to the South American market. A 120-page contract, complex Spanish laws, and a maze of terms and variables. Lucas proudly reads the contract alone because he trusts no one. His legal team, Ivy League sharks, stand by, not as helpers but to identify traps, intricate clauses, and ambiguous terms that could bring down his empire. Sofia Alvarez, 30, a waitress in a black uniform that's nothing special, glide through the bustling and bright shadows of this place. My dark brown eyes sharp enough to see the deceit in the room. I've worked at La Perla for 11 months. Long hours every day to pay for my mother's cancer treatment. My hands are worn from the struggle, and I speak with a strong Spanish accent. I don't say much because I've learned to blend in. I understand that invisibility is the best shield. Customers won't notice me unless their glass is empty or their plate is served. I like it that way. I can move like a dancer, pour wine, and close it off. Eyes always watching, observing their tilted heads, fake smiles, and the silent power games at each table. When I serve Lucas's table, he notices me because I hesitated slightly while pouring his wine. Lucas raises his voice. How long will this take? The sound is loud enough to catch the attention of the investors, who smirk. I reply softly, sorry, and continue calmly with my work. Lucas remembers that detail, the Spanish accent, the swift pace, and the fire in my eyes. Then, he returns to his conversation, brushing it off as a mere distraction. The high-profile investors were sipping wine under the chandeliers, talking about the complexities of the deal, and the lawyers were still busy. Carlos, an investor from Spain, spoke up. This contract is a maze. Lucas, even you must be getting a headache. Lucas, with his self-satisfied smile, replies, I'll have it solved before dawn. No need for a week. At that moment, Lucas notices me nearby. A mischievous spark lights up in his mind. As the investors continue their conversation, sipping wine, he slides the contract toward me, the paper spreading out like a challenge. Lucas says, Hey, waitress, are you Spanish? If you're smart enough, translate this contract for me. The investors burst into laughter, clapping like they're watching a circus act, the sound echoing throughout the room. Lucas expects me to blush and stutter, turning me into his joke, but he's mistaken. The laughter lasts only a moment. I stand still, my eyes quickly scanning the contract before looking directly at Lucas, calm as a still lake before a storm. The room freezes. The laughter dies down into tense silence. I step forward, touch the document, pick it up, and say, I'll do it. I walk steadily, back straight, toward the kitchen. There's more laughter. But this time, Lucas feels uneasy, as if he miscalculated. He realizes that my silence isn't failure. It's something deeper, something he can't put into words. He tries to push it from his mind, but the thought haunts him like a shadow, warning him of the challenge he just threw at me, one he isn't prepared for. The next morning, Lucas is in his 30th floor suite overlooking Central Park. The city below is like a chessboard, its buildings gleaming like pawns. His assistant, Claire, a 50-year-old woman who has dedicated her life to the company, brings an elegant envelope to Lucas's desk. No address, no sender. Lucas frowns and cuts open the envelope with a silver letter opener. Blade reflects morning sunlight. Inside the envelope is the perfect translation of the contract. Every term precise. Handwritten notes detailing subtle details. Analyzing the material with surgical accuracy, these notes pointed out risks his team missed. One clause could cost him millions. Another vague one that could be exploited. Hidden tax impacts detailed in the translation. A cultural difference that could break the negotiations. Labor rights issues that could cause unnecessary protests in South America. These notes not only detailed the contract, but showed an understanding of the person behind the deal, someone who could impact the working community and local economy. Alongside the translation, there's a letter. Mr. Stone, do you think I'm just a waitress? Assumptions are dangerous in business. You should know. Since you asked me to translate this contract, I did as you asked. Next time, you want to be the center of attention. Make sure it's the right moment. Signed, Sofia Alvarez. Lucas reads the translation carefully and can't help but exclaim, "This isn't just a good translation. It's from someone with a master's level or a critic's sharp eye." The translation pointed out angles he or his staff never noticed. He immediately calls his assistant, "Claire, find out everything you can about Sofia Alvarez." By noon, Claire delivers a file, and the contents shock Lucas like a slap to the face. I wasn't just a waitress. I had graduated from Columbia Law School 6 years ago. Specializing in international law, I had worked at top law firms like Kessler and Dunn, representing Fortune 500 companies in high-stakes arbitration cases. I spoke fluent Spanish, French, Chinese, Arabic, and Portuguese. Magazines had called me a genius, and I had defeated competitors in major lawsuits for a tech giant. But 2 years ago, I vanished from the legal world for reasons no one knew, until I appeared at La Perla earning $15 an hour. The file also included pictures from my law school days smiling, standing in front of a mock court trophy, ambition gleaming in my eyes. Lucas leaned back in his chair, the contract spread out before him, the silence like a reproach. He was used to sitting with the smartest people in the room, but I had easily played him. For the first time in years, he felt shaken, not just feeling it, but a shift in his worldview. Lucas told himself he needed to learn about me, unravel the mystery he couldn't put into words. Later that afternoon, Lucas returned to the restaurant. During the break between lunch and dinner, he saw me wiping tables, precise but tired, my apron slightly wrinkled, a rare sign of the long hours. In Claire's file, it had mentioned I worked 2 jobs to care for my mother. Lucas, abandoning his usual arrogance, became curious and respectful, his voice softer than the night before. "Miss Alvarez, could we talk?" I stood straight, my eyes cautious but not hostile. I nodded. I led him to a sofa in the corner, sat down, and Lucas looked at me with respect in his eyes. "What do you want to talk about?" "The translation," Lucas replied. "It was great, better than my team of lawyers. You pointed out details they missed, details that could have cost me millions. Why are you working as a waitress here, instead of arguing cases in court?" My lips tightened, my voice steady but sad. "My mother, Maria, has terminal breast cancer. The treatment costs more than what I earned as a junior lawyer. Now, working 80 hours a week is the only way to pay for it. The insurance covers less than half. The bills pile up faster than I can earn. I need a job with flexible hours to care for her, sit by her side, and ensure she's not alone. This job helps me pay the bills and be there for my mother." As I spoke, Lucas remembered his sister, Emily, the only person who dared criticize him. She made him laugh and helped him grow. After she passed away, Lucas worked tirelessly to build his empire. But deep down, there was a hole Lucas wanted to fill that void with ambition again and said, "Are you planning to give up? Join the empire as a partner." "I'm not giving up. I'm choosing family. That's the difference. And you wouldn't understand," I replied, my tone sharp but not angry. Lucas wanted to argue but was choked by his words. He leaned forward. "Work for me. Instead of just being someone sincere to others, you can read contracts like poetry. Spot traps in terms, what would it take for you to work for me?" I narrowed my eyes, angry. "Do you think I translated the contract just to please you?" "No. I did it because you publicly humiliated me. I'm here to prove I'm not invisible. I'm not your employee, Mr. Stone. I'm not a commodity." My words hit hard, like a punch. Lucas wasn't used to rejection, but this wasn't just a simple no. It was a challenge to his entire worldview, forcing him to see his own arrogance. Before Lucas could respond, I stood up, straightened my apron, and calmly said, "I still have a table to serve. Good luck with the merger." I walked away, my burden heavy but my resolve firm. Lucas realized he had misjudged me, not just my abilities, but my resilience and soul. For the first time, he began asking himself, how many times have I been blind? How many lives? How many people have I overlooked? My words hit like bruises. The pain echoed in Lucas's heart, soft yet persistent. He had spent his life judging people based on their usefulness to him. Can they help me achieve my goals? Can they adapt to my empire? But I didn't play his game. I didn't chase his so-called success money, power, fame. And that made me a mystery he couldn't solve. A puzzle that gnawed at his heart. And Lucas began coming to La Perla, not to eat, but to watch me glide through the restaurant, face abuse from drunk customers, yet handle it with grace, watching me speak fluent French with a French couple, switch to Spanish, serve a salesperson with food, and handle everything with professionalism and charm. One day, Lucas saw me going out the back door, carrying food for a homeless person, a plate of food from the Italian vendors. My kindness was as natural as breathing. I smiled and waved, gently refusing their thanks. Another time, he saw me resting, quietly befriending my colleague's daughter, Elena, teaching her Spanish, although my face was full of exhaustion. "You'll do great," I told the girl gently and firmly. "But first, you have to believe in yourself." One night, Lucas found me sitting on a box, coffee in hand. An old book, 100 Years of Solitude, opened. The smell of roasted coffee in the air, and the smell of city dust, the sound of traffic in the distance. The neon lights from a small grocery store nearby shaded my face. And I looked up without surprise. My eyes caught the light. "You're really determined," I said, smiling softly. The Spanish accent curled around the syllables. "I'm curious," Lucas confessed, sitting down next to me on the rough box. His tailored suit, a sharp contrast to the surroundings. "You're wasting your talent here. You can go back to being a lawyer, have all the money, respect." My smile slowly faded, my eyes determined. "Do you think that matters? I used to have those things, but they don't make me feel complete. Maria is my family. It's the only thing I have left. I don't waste my talents. I choose what really matters." My words hit Lucas like a wave, reminding him of his sister Emily, her laughter, her courage, the way she always tried her best, and when the machines in the hospital stopped working, the warmth of your hands. Lucas had always hidden that pain in his empty world, escaping the emptiness by building luxury. But my words opened a crack, hard and painful. "If I can help you," his voice dropped, almost hesitant, "help you pay for your mother's treatment." No strings attached. My eyes softened, but only for a moment. The flash of gratitude was overshadowed by determination. "I don't accept charity." My voice was firm. "But I accept kindness. I have taken care of my mother since I was a child. I will handle it myself." Lucas nodded, respecting my resolve, but also feeling helpless. Part of him wanted to use the wall of wealth to help me solve the problem. "You are so strong." His voice held a hint of admiration. "Yes, strong." I responded with a smile. The first time, a soft and rhythmic laugh. It reminded him of his sister Emily. The unexpected laugh that made him uneasy. That laugh was like a gift in a world full of transactions and money, a ray of humanity. In the months that followed, Lucas kept coming back, drawn to my charm like butterflies to a flame. Lucas knew me in bits and pieces. He saw me remembering each customer's order, even the Martinelli with extra lemon peel. He saw me skillfully using the mechanism, politely responding to annoying customers. Lucas silently exclaimed, "Her personality is her silent weapon." The way she behaved was a dignity that uniforms could not hide. One night, I was talking to Elena's mother, Rosa, promising to help her with her college applications. "She's very smart," I said in a calm voice. "She just needs someone to believe in her." Lucas accidentally saw this scene and thought to himself, "How many people have I missed? Can I see their potential?" Lucas also pieced together my past from the pieces I had inadvertently revealed, and from Claire's records. I grew up in Cartagena, Colombia. My father died when I was 5 in a construction accident. My mother, Maria, raised me and moved to the United States when I was 12. Living in a crowded apartment in the Bronx, Maria worked as a seamstress, skillful with her fingers. I learned early to be tough and work hard. These principles have accompanied me from Columbia Law School to the rapid rise at Kessler and Dunn, now to the difficult days at La Pira restaurant. I use the same method, walking between faith and hope. It's been a long time since Lucas has seen me work slowly, helping a young assistant, Matteo, doing English homework. I patiently explain verb conjugation. "You've improved." I smile and tell him to keep practicing. "You'll teach me sooner or later." Matteo is a tall, skinny 16-year-old boy. With a shy smile, his confidence grows under my care. Lucas realizes that I'm not just existing. I'm a beacon of light that carries a burden but shines a light for others. 7 months later, the merger was finally completed, largely thanks to my translation work. Lucas's eyes scanned the exclusive partnership terms that would save the company millions of dollars and impress Lucas's investors. He sent me a thank you card and a check for $50. Senovelv. The check came back with only a handwritten note on it. In careful handwriting, "I don't need your charity. I need your respect." At that moment, Lucas realized that he had completely misjudged me, not just my abilities, but my nature. He hired a private investigator, not out of malice, but to understand me better. The detective's report made Lucas's heart ache. I was not just a waiter. I was quietly creating my own vision. I had quietly registered a law firm called Alvarez, a small office in Brooklyn. I saved money, wrote business plans at night, reconnected with old colleagues, still at the Bronx Community Center, teaching law students. I also received a grant from the Legal Foundation by leveraging the legal network in Colombia. I even turned down a high-paying senior law job because I wanted to focus on achieving my ideals. The report also said that I volunteered for a nonprofit organization that provides free legal services to immigrants to help them fight evictions and fraudulent landlords. I often spent evenings in my cramped office, turning hope into action. Lucas drove his luxurious Bentley to Brooklyn. The Alvarez Legal Services office was an old warehouse converted into an office. The sign read, "Women's Justice Community." Inside, I greeted my clients, a young couple arguing with a bad landlord, their faces filled with worry. I wore a navy suit, my hair loose, my demeanor forceful, speaking quickly and firmly, explaining their rights in Spanish. On a whiteboard in the corner of the room were lists of lawsuits, class actions against rogue landlords, lawsuits for families facing eviction, saving small businesses from high-interest loans. A young intern, Anna, who was my student, was arranging her files, her goal clear in her eyes. A former intern, Javier, was updating his assignment files. The office exuded a determined atmosphere, far from the luxurious coldness of the Hulai headquarters. I did not back down when I saw Lucas, surprise and curiosity in my eyes. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice low but warm, as if inviting him to explain. "I want to see this," Lucas said, gesturing toward the office, his voice filled with admiration. "She's not just living well. She's creating something that really matters." I nodded firmly, my eyes unmoving. I'm tired of being overlooked. I'm very good at what I do. Tired of being undervalued. This law office is for people like me, immigrants. For people who have been forgotten by the world. They deserve someone to argue for them. Someone who sees them. Lucas felt a stab of pain in his heart. His arrogance reflected right before his eyes. He was also impressed with my vision. I was wrong, he said. His voice was hoarse, but he had to say. A misunderstanding about the restaurant. Yes. Those assumptions. Yes. I think I can buy everything from her. I looked at him carefully, my eyes gentle. I nodded. I accept your apology, but don't expect me to let you go so easily. I smiled. A very unique smile. It made Lucas feel embarrassed in his throat. He didn't understand the meaning of my words. Before leaving, I gave him a business card. Simple but outstanding design. If you need someone who is not a billionaire, a respectable lawyer, you know where to find me. In my eyes, it was a challenge and also a respect. It was a recognition of the same determination in both of them. Lucas felt like he was being seen for the first time. Not as a CEO, but as a flawed human being. A normal person trying to get ahead. A month later, Lucas discovered that I had quietly come to help one of his competitors, a small luxury brand called Essentia, focused on ethical consumption, who was trying to break into the market. I used my legal expertise to help them win a contract that included expansion plans in South America, better conditions for local distributors, and priorities around fair wages and sustainability. I didn't do this out of malice. It was just business and completely aligned with my values. But this shocked Lucas. I wasn't just a strong person. I was still a competitor who played by my own rules, challenging a moral code. Lucas couldn't help but laugh. A bad laugh. You hit me again. This time, he really admired this woman, Sophia. Then, unexpectedly, I was invited to speak at the Columbia Law School annual conference, my alma mater. They recognized me and Alvarez, the work of Vara's Legal Services. My commencement speech, Justice for the Invisible, went viral. The words were vivid, passionate, full of hope, inspiring countless students, advocates, and lawyers. On social media, a video of me standing on stage, my navy blue suit, became a symbol of my struggle. Anna and Javier sat in the audience, their faces full of pride. I spoke of my mother's sacrifice, the hardships of being an immigrant. I spoke of seeing things the world cannot see. Power is not invisible to us. My voice was firm. No one can stop us. Thunderous applause. Lucas sits in his office watching the video, his throat tightening, thinking, she's not just rising, she's rising, and he's witnessing history. But the final twist is a little more personal and gentle. Lucas knew I had worked on a pro bono case, helping a young Colombian woman who was fighting to keep her small grocery store from a greedy developer. That developer turned out to be Lucas's partner. I didn't realize this until it was too late, but I didn't confront Lucas. I kept fighting. My strategic legal documents became the template for this fight. The case is still pending, but my persistence forced the developers to the negotiating table, a small victory for the Varese Legal Services community. This reminds Lucas, my fight wasn't just professional, it was personal. It was ingrained in me from Caterina Street to Brooklyn, persisting all the way. 4 years later, Alvarez Legal Services has become a global icon. The firm's Brooklyn headquarters has become a hub for change. Branches in Miami and Los Angeles have been established to serve neglected communities. My cases have attracted international attention, a campaign against dilapidated buildings. Class action lawsuits by bad landlords have forced free home repairs for thousands of residents, rescuing a Honduran refugee family from deportation, reuniting with family in Colombia running a bakery on the brink of bankruptcy due to high-interest loans. I helped them keep their dream alive. I opened another branch. My law office became the center of my business, providing free consultations to those who could not afford legal services. My team included experienced lawyers. Anna had just passed the bar exam. Javier was still a second-year intern. Clients trusted me because I understood their pain. I had been there. My Colombian background brought empathy and led to action. My mother, Maria, is still battling cancer. The hospital room became a showcase of my achievements. The walls were covered with reports of my cases, hung a graduation photo from Columbia Law School, a pair of paintings by Elena, a third-year journalism student, and a thank you letter from Anna. Soft music hums on the small radio. That's Maria's love for dancing as a young girl. That's my daughter. Every time my mother, Maria, through chemotherapy, tired but determined, holds my hand. Her eyes sparkle with pride. I've also expanded the Bronx community, the center's mentorship program, for over 200 young immigrants, teaching them law, coding, and leadership. Anna received a full scholarship to Columbia Law School, and that was just the beginning. I've also helped 5 children receive financial aid, one of whom is now at Siena College. Mateo, a third-year environmental science student, dreams of protecting his home community. At night, I would read 100 Years of Solitude with my mother, Maria. Laughter was a rebellion against the cold hospital room. Bills were not paid, but I found meaning so they could go on living. My influence is unstoppable. My speech at Columbia Law School inspiring a movement. National law schools are following my model of community legal aid. New York Times. Walk-in Times News. The media has featured me. In this photo, I am wearing a navy blue suit, standing in my Brooklyn office next to Anna, Javier, and Elena, a symbol of hope for immigrants and vulnerable groups. The publisher signed me for the memory section called Invisible but Unstoppable, scheduled for release next year. Exclusion has been criticized for its impact on immigrants, its true depiction of concern, and today it has caused a huge controversy. I also founded Maria, the Alvarez Legacy Foundation. This is a program for women of color, law students. The programs provide scholarships, funded by her speaking fees, and donations from motivated clients. At the foundation launch, Maria sat in a wheelchair, smiling brightly. Sofia, you have allowed me to dream bigger than I ever could. Misha, Lucas has also undergone a transformation. His maturity is deeper. My power has defeated him since Emily and the new wall built after her death helps him face his own sadness and realize the meaning of life. He expanded the Alvarez Support Fund scholarship program. Thousands of low-income law students are now receiving support. It was the result of my persistence. Lucas often drove to visit my mother. The two of them chatted. His wisdom and humility became a source of spiritual support for my mother. My daughter doesn't need your help. Maria sometimes teased him, her eyes shining. That day, she also had a bouquet of lilies from Lucas by her bed. I'm glad you finally saw me. Continue to see others. Lucas smiled to himself. Inspired by me, Lucas reformed the corporate culture, initiating public welfare projects, providing free legal and financial services to small businesses. There is also a mentoring program for entrepreneurs, sharing his own experiences of success and failure. He recruited a diverse team, including the lawyer I recommended, Javier's sister, Carla. My insights changed the strategy in Latin America. Lexu's profits skyrocketed, proving that ethics and success can coexist, despite facing strong opposition from some members of the board, who accused him of pursuing ideals over profits. Lucas stood firm. I became his North Star. He also established the Emily Stone Memorial Fund, supporting cancer research and patient care in memory of his sister's courage. At the Venus party, his voice broke when he said of me, admitting my mistakes. He received a standing ovation, also receiving a message from me, Emily would have loved you the way you are now. Lucas's transformation was also evident in the community as he volunteered at the Bronx Center for Nonprofits, teaching entrepreneurship courses with me. One evening, he and I met Mateo, saw the light in his eyes, listened to him talk about college projects, creating urban green spaces. Sofia, trust me, Mateo said. Lucas nodded. My blog posts about feeling influential were also published with Anna, now a law student, and Aaron, a journalism student, covering local corruption. I consider all 3 of them members of my family and share my vision with them. As Lucas's timeline culminated, I won a high-profile lawsuit, forcing developers to rebuild small grocery stores and fund community centers. Lucia called me in tears. The victory had captured the attention of the entire city. The New York Times called it a victory for justice. Lucas saw the report, texted me that it was not charity but a partnership. Lesher was willing to provide legal services to Alvarez to invest in expanding their influence. I agreed, but only if the office remained independent. One evening, Lucas returned to La Pera. I no longer worked there. The apron, a relic of the past. The manager recognized him and handed him a letter written by me. My handwriting was neat but warm. Thank you for seeing me. Keep seeing this forgotten world. Maria is always young when she talks about you. Tell Anna, go chase the stars. She will shine brighter than me. Tell Elena, her words are changing lives. Tell Mateo, his dreams are growing. Tell Lucia, he has a home. Lucas, you are not the same person anymore. You are getting better and better. Don't stop. Lucas smiled, eyes moist, placing the letter in his wallet along with a photo of Emily. A photo of her smiling happily on the beach, hair flying in a homemade manner. Lucas Stone returned to his office in Central Park, the afternoon sun reflecting off the skyscrapers, illuminating his face as a reminder of the long and arduous journey he had taken. In his hand, he clutched my letter. The words were clear but warm, a clear lesson about the most important things in life, something he had not realized until I entered his world. He looked back at the picture of Emily he always carried with him, her smile still fresh in his memory. Everything he had built, the empires of power and wealth, now seemed small and insignificant compared to what he truly sought: recognition, understanding, and compassion. He understood that, instead of living for himself, he needed to learn to see others, the way Sophia had always done. I didn't just build a 15-office law firm. I built a story of resilience, sacrifice, and a legacy that continues. I taught him, success is not a badge, but service, but to help others see their light. In my reflection, Lucas is building his legacy, not a billionaire empire, but learning to see, learning to care for those who are fixing themselves. He is not at the end of this road, but for the first time, he is on the right path, each step meaningful, not for profit, but for the lives he has touched. A month later, when I was walking on the street and thinking about a lawsuit, I happened to meet Lucas. We both looked at each other and smiled slightly, perhaps at this moment in Lucas's mind. The woman in front of him who used to be just a waitress had helped him have a different view of this world, helped him change his life and break free from his invisible wall. Lucas spoke up. If you don't mind, can I take you out to dinner? Okay, I replied firmly but gently, with a smile on my face. And together we went to a nearby restaurant. Lucas was no longer the shadow of pride and ambition. He could now see the people around him, understand their pain and beliefs. He had learned that how we treat others determines the true value of life. Ultimately, live for something bigger than yourself. Success is not about what you get, but how you help others find the light in their lives.